applique designs are one of my favorites because they don't take so long to stitch out. So for example, design number 3 is considered an applique design. The gray part is fabric. Now, how did I actually know that? And that's because in the book, there is a couple little universal symbols. There's a page that defines the universal symbols as what they mean. So for example, the little dot and scissors equal applique. So it's going to stitch an outline, then we're going to put some fabric over the top of that outline. We're going to stitch again, and then we're going to trim, and then it will finish it up. There is reverse applique. There's other techniques like chenille or eyelets or wash away or freestanding designs that you wash away. So there's lots of different ones. So just look for those symbols. What's the difference between reverse applique and applique? Reverse applique means you put the fabric on the underneath side of the hoop, trim out the fabric from the top, and then the fabric back here shows through. Yes, that is fun. Let's see, I think the Christmas tree I was looking at, is that one reverse applique? This one is, the design 81. And I just printed off some of these I was eyeing. Yes, the Christmas tree is also reverse applique. So the fabric is put underneath that area. Okay, so we are stitching out design number 3. So I'm going to go into that first folder, pull up design number 3, and I want to stitch it in the upper part of this hoop area. So let's go ahead and set it up to make sure that I'm not stitching over something I've already stitched. So first thing to do, remember, choose the hoop that you're using, the 240 by 150, and then I'm going to move the design just straight up to the top, and I'm going to just hold my finger on it and I'll move it as quickly as I want. I do want to always make sure I'm okay, so I don't know if that's going to, how big that is going to be. Well, I do know, it says on the sheet, but visually, where am I? Touch the Alt button, touch the plus, so it's going to show me that top left corner, top right corner. This is the crucial one. How far down does it come? Oh yeah, I'm going to be good. Over here, and then one more touch brings me to the center of the design. So if that is kind of in the center area of what I want to stitch, that is good. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get to, here we go, we'll get out of the Alt. And I do see, it says 5 colors. Now, if you take a look, this does not have 5 colors, but it has 5 steps. And that's what an applique is all about. So I do already have the color of thread. I will be stitching the satin stitch width as I get started here. So I'll just go ahead and start with yellow thread. And so what this is going to do is give me an outline of how big of a piece of fabric I'm going to need to cover this. And I think I'm going to be okay, but we'll have to stop and see. Oh yeah, we're going to be fine. So step 1 is just a placement line. And then it's going to go ahead and stop. It does cut. We're going to touch OK, lift up the presser foot, slide my fabric underneath. I don't usually need to spray this or anything. I'm going to just go ahead, lower the presser foot, push start, let it stop. I'll trim my thread, touch OK, push start. Okay, so the second step for an applique is the design is going to stitch on top of the fabric. And then when it stops after this step, that's when we take the hoop off and trim. So this will be one, you know, we do have the trim position, which I'll show you, which if I was very stretchable, I could bend around to actually cut. But for this design, I'm going to actually take the hoop off and then do the trimming. It'll just be faster. Notice usually the second row of stitching is 2 times around. By having 2 lines of stitching, it actually gives that fabric a nice hold before all the satin stitching goes over the top of it. And yep, and then here we go. So here's what we're talking about. Now I did mention a trim position. So if this wasn't going to be a hard item to trim, we can go into the settings and go up to what's called a cut position. So same thing, raise the presser foot, okay, and then touch OK, and touch cut position again. So what it does is it moves in the top corner and the whole hoop has come to us. So this is where if I could get all the way around this, which like I said, I'm not that flexible, is I can just come in and do some of the trimming without the hoop being taken off. So you just have to decide, could you get all the way around it? So instead, I'm going to take the whole hoop off the machine, And you're going to just need to go ahead and get nice and close. And when I say close, I mean close. So I'm going to lift up the fabric towards me, use my curved embroidery scissors to get as close as I can to that edge. I'd rather, yeah, I mean, even if you accidentally cut into a little bit of that thread, that is okay. Most of the time that will still hold, but just go ahead nice and close. Don't leave a lot of fabric sticking out because you need it close enough that the satin stitch for the applique will cover it. It'll make it look gorgeous when we're done. So I've trimmed all the way around the design. We'll go ahead and put the hoop back on the machine. Again, never a problem, take the hoop on and off. It knows exactly where I am. We'll come out of the settings and start with our third step. The third step you're going to notice is starting off with a little zigzag all the way around the raw edges, just to kind of help contain them, and then it'll come back over the top and do a nice heavy satin stitch. As you can see with this design, it has just a little bit of color in the middle. So at this point, you can decide whether you want to just leave your flower with just the applique fabric and the outline, or go ahead and stitch the final two colors. I'm thinking I might just leave it, and we are done.